Biden to warn Putin of economic plan if he invades the Ukraine. This is kind of interesting. So this is happening today. Both President Biden and President Putin will be having a chat today, and it will be related to Ukraine. So if you're like me and you failed geography class, Ukraine is just to the southwest of Russia. Culturally, there seems to be a decent amount of overlap. They also, quite a bit of people in Ukraine know how to speak Russian. So there are some overlaps there. And that kind of comes into play to my understanding of why they're interested in invading it, beyond the fact that they are rich in resources such as natural gas. There is some cultural overlap, and people are just trying to point out that, yeah, no, Putin wants to like expand his reach and kind of almost like this, their way of life, their culture, kind of more of a united front in like Eurasia, that type of a vibe. I'm not a political expert by any means. This is worthwhile to look into. And the reason I'm bringing it up to you is because like what Biden's apparently going to threat is disconnecting Russia from like the global financial system, which I don't really know how he would pull that off. But this is strongly going to relate of if there becomes like a pissing match of sorts, could have a strong impact on oil. We know recently oil's been going crazy. Most recently, the U.S. and some of its allies did an literally never seen before. It was actually pretty crazy that so many different nations came together to do it. But they released oil from their own reserves, brought oil back down. Oil a little bit higher now. It came down from like 83 to about 67. Now we're back up at 71. But depending on this goes, Russia is a pretty serious power, and we don't want it to spiral into another like absurd pissing match by any means. We hope that it just gets resolved. A different thing on the political front, this instead of Russia, this is the U.S. versus China. U.S. plans diplomatic boycott of Beijing Games, but the athletes are still going. So basically, officials are not going, and apparently New Zealand is doing this, and I think the Netherlands is also strongly considering this, but a couple other countries, including the U.S., planning on not going in official capacity, but all athletes, I guess, can still go and compete and do what they want. I looked into this to see if this has happened before. The most recent time that this has happened was back in 1980, when the U.S. actually completely did not go. They didn't let anyone go, including athletes, to the Moscow Summer Games. And this was right after the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. So this isn't like the first time something like this has happened. And in 1980, it was a bit more serious of when we've seen this. So I thought that was just a little bit of history for all of you.